Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're across this great wide world of ours. Um, I haven't done a video a few days on my Positive Vibe channel, but I took a chance to a do mass transit today because I was working on some stuff, and especially on some stuff that I'm working on one of my businesses. And I happened to think as I as the bus was moving, and I was working on some notes and that I had to send off to a law firm. That while I was sitting there, the bus would pull up, and people would stumble, knowing the bus is down the street, knowing, and then come on, not have their money or their card was expired, and it was cold outside. And I know it's cold here in Cincinnati today. I don't even think it's like 2 or 3 Celsius today. But the point that I want to make about this is somehow we have lost focus on a sense of urgency. There's a good book by John Carter, My Iceberg is Melting, which is an excellent book. But the crust of and I should write a book about this sometime, is we've lost that focus on our sense of urgency or what is important or what is our priority. And I think we have a lot of people that are just haphazardly going through life, being content on just the basics. In other words, content on letting the government take care of them, letting them say, well, I'm on SSDI, I'm making $840 a month. The state or the city's helping me pay my rent. I'm getting food stamps, or another SNAP, what I call it, or I'm getting Medicare from the state, and all these costs add up. And when I was thinking, sometimes I can understand that we get into a situation, and like I said, I was had some issues with my previous employers, and and was somewhat on not working. But then when I think about this, we have a tendency just to say, well, let the government take care of it. And the point is we're overextended, um, um, just don't have the money because just the money does not exist anymore. In other words, we're trillions of dollars in debt. And yet we say, well, let the state take care of it. And the point is great unemployment and all this other stuff. And it's like I was talking to somebody from the state on Wednesday or Thursday about, and had some concerns about some things. And the person told me that a lot of people, the state just writes off a lot of debt because people never pay it. And it's like, and I said, you got to be kidding. And she said, and the person, I shouldn't say she or he. And the point was, the person said, yeah, they just write it off, or they turn it over to the attorney general's office, and they never get the money anyway. So, and they just have a lien on, or not a lien, but you pay it back either when you get your state. Or the person told me, well, if you win money at the lottery, they take it that way. And there again, I was saying, well, that's part of the issue, that we just say, we go play the lottery and we think we're going to win money on it, and it's really it's a game for poor man. It's a poor man's game, and you never win. I mean, some people win, but if the state wasn't making any money, they would not be in it. It's the same thing with Vegas. If Vegas didn't think they could make money on it, they would not be in it. So the point I make on it, it's a poor man's game. And it's in other words, it keeps the peasants happy because they can gamble. And I've said this before in some of my videos, almost 80, 90, anywhere from 70 to 90% of the people who win large sums of money within 5 years are dead ass broke. And I hate to use the word dead as broke, but they're dead as broke because they can't manage their money and they're not used to it. And this goes back to some of my arguments with abundance, that people get this and they just can't manage it because we've got our mind, and you've got the conscious and then your subconscious mind. And the people can't really understand the concept of I've always been poor, so I will continue to be poor. It's almost like the book Rich Man, Rich Dad, Poor Dad book, and I can't remember the author right offhand, but it's a mentality that exists out there. But my point is, going back to my argument with this sense of urgency, people are at the point, and I think a lot of this has to do post COVID-19, when everybody was, stuck at home, not able to get out, and we had this issue of the government was going to take care of this, the government. But in the back of my mind, which is my subconscious mind, as a person that's an ENTP, which is Briggs Meyer, who believes in the thought that you're responsible for your own ship. And I often say, you are the captain of your ship. And if you want to lack this sense of urgency, your ship will go down, because really, and I've said this 1,000 times, the government's broke. State government's broke. Federal government's broke. Case in point, I talk about the BIA. We're still doing the same thing, and we still have issues of poor water quality. We have people missing off of reservations, and we still do that existence. We got a satellite or a probe that us taxpayers paid $113 million for, that's sitting sideways on the moon, and NASA says it's a complete success. How you can say something's a complete success and lying sideways on the moon, you need to drink the Kool-Aid, because it's not. It's a failure, because the probe was supposed to stand upright and it's lying sideways. So some of this goes back to what I think some people have said about participation studies, or when everybody would participate in a sport and then they would get a trophy just for participating in it. So the issue becomes, that mentality harp or hinder the development of people's mind? Because it's something I teach people all the time. You're going to lose some battles and you're going to win some battles, but the goal is to always win the war. The case in point, we can talk about Washington. He would lose a lot of battles, but in the long run, he did a attrition by dragging the revolution out. Got France involved, got Spain involved, and the United States eventually became 13 colonies, got their independence. So it was his use of the words of Washington and some of the founding fathers, this sense of urgency, or we've got to get things moving. We gotta win this, but we've got to do it in a way that does it. So, and though it took some time, it's still the sense of urgency. And like I said, the urgency right now is, well, the federal government will take care of it, the state government take care of it. And the point is, do we as a society, or do we as a nation, want people to get a check weekly, or do we want to get people to get a check monthly? And if it were my philosophy, which it is right now my philosophy, I would rather get a check daily than weekly or monthly. And I think this is part of the mentality of rich people, is you have this passive income coming in on a daily basis and not necessarily counting on the government. Because like I said, the government is flawed. The government is broke. We have leadership that's lost its compass. And like I said, it goes back to what I said, that with this sense of urgency, people say, oh, we'll deal with it tomorrow. Oh, there's no need. But there may not be tomorrow. If the whole system crashed tomorrow, what would you do, or how would you, what skill would you do, how would you cope, what would you do, and etc. And like I said, this is John Cotter's My Iceberg is Melting. This essence of creating, and part of this is empathy as well. Wrote a book on increased empathy, increased self-esteem. I wrote a book about that. So you've got to be more empathize with people, but at the same time, you've got to be, like I said, when you're going off to FedEx to fax over some material for some law office concerning some things you're doing for a law office about people on workman's comp. The point is that you're wanting to get there, and you want to make some notes and make sure you got everything in order. And then people are fumbling for changes, knowing the buses, down the street, or working on getting their app on the phone, which really they should have the app on the phone when the bus pulls up. And the point here is, it's just as part of this, and I don't know what the issue is if it's low intelligence or if it's a social economic situation, because really, honestly, I like to ride the mass transit because it's a good way for me to understand people and their needs and wants, what their need, and understanding what's going on in the world. But this is the big issue I see right now, is the lack of urgency and the fact that right now we've got some issues within the government that's not working. Like I said, for example, we got a satellite on the moon that's flying sideways, and people think NASA thinks it's a success. In my mind, I'm trying to think, well, that's false thinking. How can it be a success if something's laying on the side, and probably because it can't get all its resources, the probe, engine called satellite probe, and then what do we do? You don't say it's a failure. I would say it's an attempt, but we gave $113 million, and not $113 million for a flawed landing. Somebody should be held accountable for that. And hate to say this, should lose their job or get a demotion, because $113 million is a lot of money, where it could have been used for travel land or something else. And we're sending a lot of money over to Ukraine, which, that's another issue in itself. And like I said, I don't know if this is a mentality lately post-COVID, or if it's low empathy, or if it's low cognitive ability. Anyway, these are some food for thought. Please like and subscribe to my channel. If you have any comments, please leave them at bthomasmillerpsych@gmail.com. That's bthomasmillerpsych@mail.com. I'll try to get a video off sometime middle of this coming week, mainly Tuesday or Wednesday. Anyway, folks, talk to you real soon. Remember, I also have books available on Amazon, self-published. They're available under B. Thomas Miller, and also Boyd T. Miller. Anyway, talk to you real soon.